We're going to take a look at data migration that involves multiple context files. This is similar to what you're going to have in your capstone projects. You'll have your application DB context, which has got the authentication component, and then you'll have a context for the rest of your data models. So we're going to take a look at how you do migrations in that type of situation. And then we're going to define specific user roles and take a look at how authorization works. We've used the authorize attribute very generically. We have not assigned user roles, and today we're going to take it one step further and assign those roles. But first, we are going to start with migrations. So if you have multiple context files, like we do in our capstone project and like we do in our MVC demo authentication project, what you have to do is, first of all, make sure the context files use the same base. And right now in our MVC demo, they do not. So we're going to have to make that change. And then just to make sure we start with like a brand new clean database, we are going to modify the web config file and give our database a different name. Then we end up having to execute the migration steps twice. We have to do it for one context, and then we have to do it for the other. Okay, so first change we're going to make, both of the context files have to use the same base. And so what was added to the MVC project when you selected authentication was this default connection base, which I am sure you have seen in the web connection file or the web config file in your connection string. Okay, and this is basically what we need to change in our member DB context file. So we are going to change that so that it also uses default connection. Because right now it doesn't do anything. It's not using any kind of base. Okay, so we need to make them use the same. Then we're going to modify our connection string in the web config file, and we're going to give it, a slightly different name. And then finally, once we have this set up, we can go ahead and run the migrations. Because we have two different context files, member DB and application DB, we end up having to be very specific about where each context file is located and what it's called. And then we are going to keep the migration files separate. So we are specifying directories for each one. And that is where the different migration files are going to be stored. And you'll notice that we have to do enable, add, and update for each of our context files. Okay, and we are going to be making those changes next in hands-on 1.